welcome to the very first episode of the Outpost podcast. I'm your host, Deonte Streeter, and with me today, I have two guys that you've probably never seen before at this church. Never seen them, never met them. Why don't you introduce yourselves?
Greg. No, Deonte, I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
I'm the pastor here at Northminster and part of a great team here at Northminster. And we've seen God at work here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's who I am and why I'm here. And it's a way to continue to tell the story.
Yeah. Who's the guy next to you?
Who am I?
Mike.
The way he said your name.
He likes Ohio State. We do know what he's kind of the magic sauce that keeps things going. And so I was thinking about teasing him, but I thought not on the first podcast.
You introduced him
that.
like he was a disappointed son.
know.
Yeah. There you go.
My name is Mike. I'm a child of God. Just
That's right.
Okay. You say that because I make
It's
you
my real identity.
I make you doubt that, right? I don't treat you like a child of God all the time.
Oh, you do.
Have I ever hit you or?
I mean, we're recording live. The answer is no. Staff development.
Okay.
We gotta cut that.
Yeah, no,
You can't say that. No. You're crazy.
we're good. Let's get us back on
I'm
track.
retiring in
He's
19 months.
Let's just go for it.
I want you to be here for 19 more months.
All right. Well, listen, I got Greg and Mike here with us today. They're just going to talk to us a little bit about what's going on in the life of our church right now, like why we're even doing this. So let's just get into it. Guys, talk to us about the last 6 months. It's been a whirlwind of changes. How are you guys feeling about it? What's been going on? What's on your mind? What's on your heart?
Golly, I feel like we could. 6 months is almost too long. You know, it's. We could do this every month and have a different answer to that. And but Mike is the one that he's a more organized soul, so he could probably go through the major events of the last 6 months, and then I could slow everything down with color. Color commentary. So what's happened in the last 6 months? Starting with probably further than 6 months, but the sanctuary change.
Yeah, I think over the past 6 months, there's been a ton of change at Northminster. But I went to the deacons meeting on Tuesday and had a chance to talk with them. And someone brought it up in that meeting. They said, this church is built on change. This church started in a tent, so this is nothing new. But I think you're 100% correct. We could talk about all the changes that happened just this past week alone for a couple hours. But I think the biggest change for this church has been that sanctuary transition. So transitioning our modern service, we had a great problem to solve. Our modern service was at capacity. And so we spent probably a year and a half looking at options, developing plans, and making that transition. And I think the thing that was clear to me, this church adapts well. In a very faithful way.
Yeah, it's interesting. From the very first Sunday we were in the sanctuary, our 9:00 worship attendance popped up beyond what the old sanctuary we were in, the well, could hold. And you always wonder when you spend money, is this going to help?
Yeah, for sure.
And we really found out from the very first moment that maybe we were late, in that change. But that's one of the ways we see God at work here.
Yep.
Yeah. So we had the big cosmetic change in the sanctuary, but then there was also an anonymous gift that came through for us to be able to do something really cool. You guys want to talk about that?
Yeah.
It just cracks me up. There's always some strange anonymous gift that helps us.
Yeah.
And so it's not like we're brilliant fundraisers and God God's working.
Yeah, we shared a vision for what could happen in that sanctuary space, and a project that we wanted to tackle years down the line were the video screens, and with a couple different reasons for that. Number one was we wanted the cross to be fully visible. I think Greg has talked about this a number of times, but from the first Sunday he was here, people were sharing, we want to be able to see the cross. There was a screen that went down in front of the cross before, so that was really important to people. But it also opens things up from a creative standpoint, from an intimacy standpoint in the space. So a lot of different reasons for it, but that really added to the change that we're making. And what's funny, I was reflecting on that change that we made. It's hard to even remember what it was like to be in the well during worship, but it just feels natural. It feels good. It feels right. And yeah, the Holy Spirit's been a part of every step of the way too.
Yeah. I have my hand in some of the creative work. We have Riley behind the camera over there. He's our creative director. But I have my hand in some of it. So like scrubbing through like the old photos of like seeing you up there in the well, it just feel like you said, it's like you can't even remember, oh, that was a thing. Like that happened. Like it just feels so natural to be in that space now. So we talked about a little bit of how things have changed in the building, how things changed on staff and at our church.
Well, just this month, we're experiencing 3 retirements, and so you always wonder with, how is God or we possibly going to replace, this person or that person, and the answer is we're not. We're not going to, or God's not going to replace all that these people do. They're sacred. They're made in the image of God. They're unique. But he has, just like the anonymous gifts, he has sent us people with differing gifts that just make us smile. And like you. I mean, I don't remember when you came on. How long ago was it?
Literally in 8 days, it'll be a year ago. Yeah.
I am so thankful we have your voice and your soul and all these new folk. They bring something. Don't you feel this way? They bring something unique. I'll say a line in a sermon and Deonte will riff on it on, the Facebook feed or something like that.
Yeah.
And it feels like, gosh, how important is that? And my answer is very important. But, we've trying to think. Riley.
Well, yeah, I would just say similarly to, if we look at the past 6 months of change, if you just look at the past year, I mean, you came on staff, Riley came on staff. We had Tom retire from production. Riley took that position over. Colin moved on from a communication space. He had a wonderful opportunity, took that. So Riley stepped into more of that. You're now full-time. And there's been a lot of change. What else? Trudy is retiring at the end of this month, so 2 weeks from now. Gary Tyler is retiring in 2 weeks from now. By the time you hear this podcast, you'll hear the news that Soteros has stepped away from the finance director role because of some medical things that have happened in his life. So one thing that is always guaranteed is change. There's always been change on our staff. But we have really strong, number one, we have a really strong staff just in general, I think, who can pick up the pieces when there is transitions in our staff. But we have great lay leaders as well at this church who step into big time roles. So yeah, I think there's been a lot of transition, especially over the past month. And then just this past week, we had another announcement about a retirement coming up 20 months from now.
Yeah.
Who was that?
I don't know anything about that. It's just, you feel really stupid when you announce your retirement and, it's 20 months. It's a year and a half away. I mean, what am I trying to make a long party out of it, or
so
get more stuff?
Yeah.
Or,
so why'd you do it?
well, every religious tribe, has different interesting protocols. But in our tradition, it generally takes 2 years to call a new pastor. And so what churches do is they get someone who's, maybe been retired for 10 years to fill the pulpit. And it turns into, no one wants this, but it turns into often just a big pause. And so by pre-announcing, we can get this church started on the search process. And in my mind, potentially save the church 2 years of passivity. We're a healthy church right now, and by the grace of God, and have a great staff and leadership culture. We like spending time together. We go out to lunch. We went out to lunch yesterday. It's, the whole Procter and Gamble feel of let's do this in 45 minutes. Yeah. It just doesn't happen that way.
No.
I mean, we were there 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were drinking Diet Coke. I mean, there was,
Yeah.
and tea.
Mike didn't get chicken tenders.
No.
He got fish.
No.
No, that was
I was very
huge.
Huge
surprised.
surprise. I got to throw curveballs every once in a while.
Did you eat it? Or was it just for show?
It was just for show.
Okay.
I
was on
fed
the
it to a
whole
dog
other side of the
already.
table. I was on the more introverted side of the table, and we heard a lot of noise from that end.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's kind of the feel that we have right now, and we want to keep it.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure.
And we've got a staff that likes to do things.
Yeah.
And I think a session who likes to do things too. And I think if we hit pause, it would affect the morale.
Yeah. No, for sure.
I think this podcast is a direct hit at that we are not hitting pause.
Yeah.
Right? We're
Yeah.
still going to try new things. We want to communicate at a very high level.
Sure.
Yeah.
What I mean, so talk to me a little bit about what you guys believe the anchor has been in all of this change, right? Like there are churches that have dissolved over much less as far as the change that they've seen in their congregation, their staff, like pastor, like what is the one thing, if there are, or maybe one or two things that you think have been the anchors that have kept us through all of this change?
Why don't you take that?
Yeah, I think first and foremost that we strive to be Christ-centered. We have a mission statement that's really rooted in the two greats, the Great Commandment and the Great Commission. And our mission is to be an outpost for Christ, impacting future generations together. So we've worked really hard to define what that means. We can talk about that in a few minutes. Yeah. So we're really trying to center everything around that mission so that we are not reliant on just a senior pastor or a superstar staff member or one lay leader who has all these gifts, that we really are a church moving in the right direction, pushing the mission ball forward together. So I think that's been a big piece. We've been working to tear down silos in the church, that we have a group that's working over here by themselves. We're really trying to integrate everything into the mission of our church, everything from budget to what we do with kids ministry, youth ministry, adult ed, all that sort of thing. So we've made a lot of shifts over the last couple of years. So I think that's been a big part of it. Okay. What do you say?
I think Mike does a great job at communicating.
It's if we didn't have Mike, I think we'd have a lot more conflict.
Yeah.
And because having those conversations with people who, for instance, about the sanctuary.
Yeah.
Our big concern was that everybody would feel like it's still home.
Yeah.
So for the modern service, that was, I mean, it was home in a new place. So that was really a big switch. And I thought the intimacy of the smaller spot would be lost. And you know, with the traditional service, you know, it's God's room, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it was kind of their room. And so that whole idea of changing and so you have to walk with people through. They have to listen to them. And Mike is spectacular at that kind of work. For me, it's obvious. We need to do this.
Yeah,
It's going to hurt for a while. Mike here actually engages and sets up meetings and listens, and it's great.
Yeah, no, I will second that. I think that your role here is very, very needed, just from a standpoint of like you're almost like the glue that holds it all together. You're doing a lot of stuff behind the scenes and no one sees, having meetings, all these different things, and that can feel like it's just like a bunch of busy work. So from the outside perspective, right? It's just like, oh, he's just doing a bunch of stuff. It's like, no, like this is like absolutely needed for our culture to stay together, for morale to stay together. So yeah, thank you for being the glue, man. I'm gonna get you a shirt that says the glue, or a hat maybe will be cooler. It says the glue.
Better than the one that says
Chicken tender.
Yeah, no, for sure, for
But
sure.
I appreciate that. But I really do feel like our staff is moving together. Well, yeah, which I really like. And I think you hit on something too over the past, because 6 months to a couple of years. I think the culture of our church, along with the sanctuary transition, but the culture is shifting too.
Yeah,
And I don't say that to mean that we had a negative culture, but I think we're really defining the culture that we want. Here's how we're going to work together as a church from a staff perspective, but also from a leadership perspective, and then ultimately as a just everyone who calls Northminster home perspective.
Yeah.
And in defining that culture, it's helped us to say, hey, this is not how we're going to act, and this is how we are going to act. And if we truly are saying we want to be a welcoming church, then we got to have good coffee. We have to have this, that, we have to have people opening the doors. And so I think that culture piece is huge, and that's been a big shift. And like one of the things like I continue to hear is, the modern service and traditional service feels like two different churches. Well, that was kind of by design when they did it back in the early 2000s. They said this is a church within a church design, but we've worked really hard to. I think the sanctuary switch was a direct hit against that point of saying, hey, now we have an in-between time where we're all in the common space together and rubbing shoulders. And so I really do feel that the culture is shifting, that more relationships are being formed between folks who go to different services. Yeah. And another cool thing I've noticed over the past 6 months, we have people who typically will go to traditional, now feel comfortable coming to modern. Wow. And people who typically would go to modern, feel comfortable going to traditional, and because it's in the same space. So it feels a little safer in that regard. So yeah, lots of shifts over the past 6 months to a year. Yeah.
no, that's really cool, man. And one thing that you hit on was about the culture shift, right? And culture is built on the backbone of the mission, right? And so when we talk about our mission, building an outpost of Christ, impacting future generations together, what does all of that even mean? Because okay, I'm not going to lie. When I first came on staff, I was like, what is an outpost? What is that? So talk to me about what an outpost is. What does all of this mean in the bigger picture of who our church is? What is that?
You want to talk about Outpost from a historical standpoint?
Yeah, I don't know exactly what you mean by that, but I'll talk about it because it's probably
what is an outpost?
What is an outpost? Yeah, what is an outpost? Yeah,
I just think that churches often think of themselves as the local office of Christianity, and they're surrounded by like-minded folks who are also believers and followers of Christ. And that's just not our world anymore. And our world has been secularized. There's a lot more plurality, people who think different on major, major issues. I mean, not just whether you're a Cubs fan or a White Sox fan. Pretty big.
It's only one answer to that.
But,
Who cares?
answers on who cares?
It's all right. Keep going.
He just talked about
Squirrel.
culture. Did you hear him talking about culture? And then he says, who cares?
Here, I'm going to fix you up a little bit. Thank you, Bob.
Yeah, I'm a child of God.
You are.
No, so Outpost is, on the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And we're not judgmental of the world around us. We just know that we're different. And we want to own that. We want to embrace that we are not the capital, like the capital of the nation. We're way on the boundaries. And back in the day, historically, you had forts, Fort Carson, and those forts were essential.
Why would someone go to an outpost back in the day?
Yeah,
1800s?
well, they were running out of food.
Yeah.
They're beat up from the journey. They may have experienced violence on the journey. They heard about the mountains, but they're bigger than I imagined.
Yeah.
And how are we possibly? So at the outpost, you can experience a bit of refuge, recovery. It heals the soul.
Yeah.
And so we like the word refuge. At an outpost, you're probably getting, those mountain folk who lived in that atmosphere were sharing their wisdom. So there was formation happening, there was encouragement happening, there was teaching happening.
But then you stay at an outpost, right?
Yeah, you just, it's like a big bed and breakfast.
But you stay there long
never
term,
go.
or do you-
No. And that's the point. Jesus calls us together.
Yeah.
And we focus on that a lot. And we probably focus less on, and he sends us out.
Yeah.
And, outposts aren't meant to be where we live our whole life. So.
And there's adventure in it too. Yeah, that's what I like about this kind of language. I think as a staff, as a session, we read that book, Canoeing the Mountains by Todd Bolsinger. And it's really how churches are in uncharted territory right now. Yeah. And I feel like in our culture, we are in uncharted territory. Yeah. We have to view the mission field differently. We have to view, being sent into our homes, into our workplaces. That's what God calls us to be sent into. And I love having that sense of adventure, as we are sent out. Yeah. So when we think about Outpost in Northminster, it's really those three things that you hit on. So as an outpost for Christ, we want to be a place of refuge where the weary, the sick, the hurting, the celebrating can find a refuge on that Sunday morning, who can find refuge in community. We want Northminster to be a place where people are formed. So formation is Northminster. We want it to be a place of formation where people are formed in Christ likeness. We are all formed by something. All of us are formed by something in this world, but we want to be formed in Christ likeness. So that's why that spiritual formation is a term that you're going to continue to hear at Northminster Church, and a lot of work that Meshach is working on right now. But we are called to continue to grow. And that's that formation piece. But we're not called to continue to grow and sit. We're called as, so a synonym for spiritual formation, Christian spiritual formation, would be discipleship. Yeah. So we want everyday disciples to be sent out as everyday missionaries. Yeah. Back into their families, back into their workplaces, back into their neighborhoods. And that's really what we mean by outposts.
Yeah.
Oh, it's amazing. I love imagery and things like that. My brain works. Is it the left brain that's more creative or right brain? I can't remember. I think it's the left that's more creative.
I'll have to. Yeah.
What side are you thinking on right now?
I think I'm a left brain guy.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's the left brain, but my left brain gets excited about basically prescribing meaning to language, but also creative as well. Like when we can tie pictures together to make things stick better for people. I love that kind of stuff. So learning more about the Outpost, I was like, oh my gosh, okay, this makes sense. Like even when you broke it down into the 3 pillars of it, I'm like, okay, refuge, formation, sending, like this. Yeah, this is exactly what the church is for, right? And so how do you guys see this podcast playing a part of it? Like, why would we start a podcast right now? We're in the middle of all this change, so much going on. We're doing a lot of other things. Why would we start a podcast right now?
Well, I hope that it's many people sharing the experience of being part of this outpost, and the Lord of the outpost is the most important thing. And, it's no human, it's our Savior.
Yeah.
But, a while ago, we asked the staff, what would you like the church to be like? Mike asked the staff in 2030.
Mm-hmm.
And what is hard to see in so many churches is the transformation that happens in people's lives. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want.
Yeah.
Bigger numbers, bigger budgets. That's all well and good.
I think it's really easy to get in that trap, though, as leaders. Yeah. As we're talking about churches and talking to other church leaders, is what's your attendance like? How many members do you have? Or what's your budget? And that's how a lot of times we track and say we're a healthy church because of attendance. I've heard there's a bunch of different ways to say it, but attendance and budget and membership and all that. We want to tell stories of transformation. Yeah, which maybe if you have SMART goals and all that, it's harder to track. Yeah, actual health in a church. But I think as an organization, as a church, the culture is what shows that we're a healthy church. People growing in their faith shows us that we're a healthy church, and the only way to really gauge that is stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're not looking for the incredible mountaintop story.
Sure.
Everyday stories.
We're just I treated my son differently today because I am being formed. Or
here's what God is telling me or teaching me this week. Here's what the Spirit put in my heart, and I reacted to that.
Yeah.
So I would like to see that normalized, that people just expect God to be part of our Monday afternoon at 4:00 or Tuesday at 9 a.m. That we would actually be surprised if there weren't stories of small and big transformation.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that the role that storytelling plays in all of this too is that it is a major encourager for anyone who's listening. It's like, okay, to your point, how do I know I'm at a healthy church if I don't see and hear that, oh, Susie, she's going through this really tough time with her health, but she knows that God's her healer and she's excited about it's the way that we've always throughout history passed down wisdom, passed down knowledge, but also encouragement and inspiration is sitting around and telling stories, sitting around campfires, telling stories. Like that's just what we've done. And so I'm excited for that specifically because I am a story junkie. I can sit and listen to anyone tell their story. It's just an awesome thing that we get to do, to not only share stories, but to share God's story specifically. Those are the best ones, right?
Yeah.
Where, all seems lost or where there's difficult situations. And in the middle of all of that, there's still peace. There's still hope, right?
Yeah, that's a story that, as I've aged, I'm so attracted to stories that talk about the strength someone found in the midst of something tragic.
Yeah.
you know,
Suffering.
because I mean, it's easy to be strong when there's a lot of money in the bank
Yeah.
and everything's going right. You know,
healthy.
anybody can do that.
Yeah.
But to be strong when the world is pounding on you, or life, or you know, that, and that's what I want.
Yeah.
And it, you know, doesn't come from me. It comes from a vital relationship with God. And, you know, that's sometimes the stories become about us.
That's true.
I'm hoping the stories spotlight what God's doing in people's lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So talk to me a little bit about what this next chapter looks like. You've announced that you're retiring.
Yeah, in like 40 years.
yes.
In January of 2028.
That's right. That's
to be
right.
clear.
Yeah, absolutely. But moving forward, I guess for both of you, what are you most excited about? What's got you like fired up and ready to run through a wall?
To me, it's the staff. You know, this is going to sound crazy, but when we started this whole thing, it started in COVID, I think. We had too much time to figure out what we could do.
Yeah.
And then we started dreaming and trying new things. And, you know, we didn't meet as a church face to face for like a year. And I was wondering, you know, if I'm taking the church where they don't want to go. I was having some self-doubt. And I had this dream. It's the only time I feel like I've really think that I heard the voice of God. And the word was, can you keep up with me?
Yeah.
And hadn't that been it? I mean, from the start, it's so, you know, I'll be interested to see what he has in a season where I could just coast.
Yeah.
And that's not what I want. Sometimes it's what my body wants. But so I think in 20 months, we are going to be a stronger, more vital, more authentic. And I, you know, that's why in our mission we say future generations. We really hope it's not for 20 months, it's for 20 years.
I believe God placed us right here in Finneytown on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, love that. Love that. One thing that I will mention, and I haven't talked to you guys about this, but I was researching this last night, just preparing for today, and one of the things that I found out about the Outpost was that, you know, in the nighttime or when it gets dark, they would use like these beacons of light to signal to people that, hey, there's an outpost here. Like, come be refreshed, get refuge, come be formed, come be sent. And for the branding for this, my mind was like, well, what if we use like a lantern, right? Something that can signal a beam of light that can signal to people, hey, come here, like come here. And so it's interesting hearing you guys talk about the placement of our church, and I feel like that is, in a large part, like what we are. We are a beacon of light to our community, and I hope that through this podcast that we can signal to people, hey, just come, come hear someone's story, come find yourself in someone's story, finding that refuge and just witnessing someone be able to be vulnerable and honest in that way, and then, you know, be formed by the truth of what God has done in their life, the truth that they bring out, the wisdom that they bring out, and go out into the world feeling inspired and be able to spark that same flame for somebody else. And so, I don't know, it feels divine, like just hearing you guys talk about like Northminster this podcast, all of these things, like, I'm like, oh yeah, like it makes the lantern imagery more strong in my head. I'm like, oh no, this is exactly what we
Let me add a layer to it. Yeah, but I'm a dork. I was doing some research just on Finneytown. Yeah, and the history of Finneytown over on Lynn and Galbraith back in the late 1700s and early 1800s. There was a literal outpost there on an Indian trail.
Really?
So, and we found that out after all the work we've done around outposts here at Northminster. So that felt divine. I'd be going to Holy Spirit things. Yeah. Keep going forward on this idea. Yeah. This imagery, because it really does bring it together and a lot of depth to it. Yeah.
No, it's amazing. As we close out, guys, one thing that I guess I want to start doing with this is at the end, just asking kind of an open-ended question of like, what is God teaching you right now? And if there's any encouragement that you could give to anyone who's listening, what would it be?
For me, it's trust with the disciplines, the spiritual disciplines, tithing. You know, I hate and love tithing. Sabbath. To think that the church is going to be fine with me without me there, without me even thinking about them on that day of Sabbath. But also the future. There's just so much unknown. I don't know what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
I don't. I know I have so much respect now for retirees because there's no money coming in.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
you're a little more
Yeah. No, it's fair.
And even in that environment, I'm still called to trust and give. And so it's all about trust. And I couldn't grow in that area without, to use your metaphor, times around the campfire, where I hear other other people's story, other people's journey, and also have fun. Like we were talking about culture, Riley. I don't know if you can do this, but we come in here and I have a vision for this room, and it is not just a plain blue wall. I just think that's a start. It's not a finish. We got to do better.
work.
We got to do better.
This is episode
This is
1,
a
Greg.
great start. But I come in the room and on this door there is a Xavier flag. I'm not a Xavier fan. I just think, holy cow, who's messing with us? And then I knew they were messing with us because I took it down mad. There's, number 5. I don't even know who number 5 is. And then I took this off. They're messing with us. That's the kind of culture we have. And we, next podcast, Horned Frog flag.
I will not be a part of that.
That's going to clash with the blue in
y'all,
here, Greg.
Y'all bring your flag.
Y'all bring your flags.
But, that time around the campfire is where we learn to, hey, it's safe to have fun with each other, mess with each other.
Yeah.
It's not all super, super serious.
Yeah.
But at times, it gets, where you can hear a pin drop because you're thinking about big things.
Yeah.
And, just speaking for men, I don't think we have much of that in our culture.
Yeah.
I think women have led the way in deep relationships. And I sure want to learn from that.
Yeah.
What about you?
Yeah. I think problem was just, what am I learning right now? Or
Yeah, what do you learn? What is God teaching you right now? And if there was anything within that you can use to encourage someone, what would it be?
yeah, I think right now, I'm amazed at all the things I feel like God is teaching me every other day in big and small ways as a husband, a father, an employee, a friend, a son, all that. I think for me right now, I gave the staff all the book, The Body Teaches the Soul. Yeah. So really working to become more disciplined physically and just how that affects my relationship with God on a daily basis. So I feel like that's been a big piece for me over the last couple of months. So that goes into getting up earlier, that goes into eating better, but that I think I've seen a big change in how I'm connected to the Spirit, moment by moment, day by day. Not nearly enough, but I do see a connection there. So I think that's something God's teaching me. And then I would just echo what you said about Sabbath, trying to slow down and and just trust being open-handed with situations and trusting that, God is sovereign, God is big, and He goes before us. Lord is with us. Like is, yeah, a couple things I'm learning right now.
Yeah. No, it sounds like what we were talking about earlier, just the everyday practices of an everyday missionary, right?
Yep.
Practicing in everyday faith. It's those little moments of, okay, I'm going to get up. I don't feel like it, but I'm denying myself. And that's building me up spiritually. I'm going to eat better because this is the temple of the Holy Spirit. I'm getting better as a disciple. It's those little moments. It's not always the big.
Pulling up to your house after a long day of work. Your real job begins with your kids, So let's try to reset my mind there and with your wife.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Awesome, man.
Okay,
Awesome.
I just want to say, with you guys talking about health and eating right, God's not
You haven't heard
telling
that?
me anything about diet. I'm still eating brisket.
I was about to say, he's telling you to smoke another brisket, isn't he?
Ribs. And,
It sounds like no Peloton rides.
That's right.
It's my aspirational piece of furniture, the Peloton.
You need something to hang your
That's right.
hang your laundry on.
Yeah.
I don't even feel guilt. That's all. I didn't want to say that because it does work that way, but
You brought it up.
yeah, I just want to keep this down to earth.
Oh, I see what you did there.
With all this, super healthy guys.
No,
here.
I never said
Super
anyone here is
healthy.
super
I
healthy.
know, I'm not. You saw what I had yesterday. I had a bacon cheeseburger yesterday at lunch. And that was really good. Felt no guilt about it.
Yeah, I misordered yesterday.
You did? What'd you get?
Yeah, I had a fail. I thought I was getting a burger, and turned out it was like a, kind of a BLT without the L and the T, and instead of that, cream cheese, lots of it.
Oh,
So it's bacon, cream cheese. I thought I was getting a burger.
yuck.
But, it's a big fail.
We
Yeah.
won't mention where we went now.
But God was with me. No, there was good food there, really good food, like those hot chicken
Chunks.
tenders. For,
Right. Yeah, they were
Chunks.
chunks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They worked
that
for me.
was
I didn't order
good.
those.
I don't know.
Who pointed at me?
They had these French fries.
French fries was good.
I don't know. They had a bunch of really unhealthy stuff put on it that made it good. So it wasn't. I just made a bad personal decision,
Fair.
and I'll recover.
What Greg is trying to say is that you have to have balance in your life, right? You have to not only do the healthy things, but sometimes you got to enjoy the unhealthy things like BLT or brisket or whatever your food of choice is that is unhealthy. We're chasing the squirrel here. Guys, we appreciate your time, your attention, and your trust. Until next time, we'll see you.
Oh, we need a little line.
That was a good line. That was a really good line.
I stole that from Brady Shearer just now. It literally just popped in my head, and I just blurted it out before I could even.
Okay.
But we do need some sort of line or something like that.
That's what all the TV guys and gals. We're with you always.
I was about to say, I think like the community, it's either travelers or like missionaries or wagon. I don't know, something like that. Because that Outpost language is so strong. And yeah, like I'm psyched. Like I already have the vision for what the branding's gonna be like.